Hello world! Welcome back to another episode of Cam's Universe. I'm Camille Marks Kelly, the beautiful one. And thank you for coming to watch this episode. In today's episode of Happily Trapped in Japan, I'm doing a special for Father's Day. Yay! Daddies are important too. And since we're in Japan, it's going to be my top 5 anime dads. Yeah. And then we got a bonus 3 non-dad fathers that I like in anime. So, stay tuned. Anime dads are pretty cool. And generally, for the animes that I watch, they are hilarious. Okay? They're fun-loving and pretty much always strong or skilled. And it's usually because you want to associate their ability with the ability of the main character. So, unlike anime moms, they tend to be in the land of the living, still there being strong, somehow helping out their kid move on to the next stage of life. So even though anime dads would be considered as strong or skilled, they're also seen as overprotective and loving. I mean, generally, if you see a father-daughter relationship, but it's not only for father-daughters. Because if you look at Kenichi, you'll also realize that his father is pretty overprotective as well, which in all is pretty good. As well as you find that they'll share their wisdom as well as their skills. So anime fathers are actually pretty all-around characters that you can learn to love or just love right away. So let's start off with number 5. Ichigo's father from the anime Bleach, Isshin Kurosaki. He's actually a doctor and a father of 3. He's been raising his children by himself as the wife had died, and honestly he's doing a reasonably good job. He's fun-loving, always attacking his son, saying he's making him stronger, which we realized was actually important in the long run. But overall, he's also pretty dramatic and generally considered the life of the party wherever he goes. Number 4. Joseph Joestar from JoJo Bizarre Adventures. Yes, Joseph. I think he's a great person from Battle Tendency, where he was the main character. But when you move into Stardust Crusaders, he's actually a side character, but here you get to see him as a father and a grandfather of the main character. As a father, he's a pretty loving dad of his daughter, always telling her she's beautiful, wonderful, and trying to get his grandson to be kinder to her. But even so be the case to his grandson, he's pretty fatherly as well, always helpful and trying to be nice to him. But more so, you realize that the characteristics that he had, although toned down now that he's older, the things you loved about him before when he was younger are still there when he's now a father, where he likes to try new things even if it doesn't work out well, and he's always trying to be somebody's friend. He's a nice guy. I like him. Number 3. Chuchiro Yuihara. He is the father of Soma from the anime Food Wars. This dude is really ridiculous. This is where you say the man makes the boy. Like, this son and father are like mirror images of each other in their ability to create amazing food as well as terrible tasting ones too that they use to torture their friends. But overall, they're both very hard workers, and the son gets this from his father. The father is his mentor, his teacher, and his rival. He doesn't actually force his son to be a chef. He is a chef, but he doesn't actually say his son should be one. When he realizes that his son is actually really serious about cooking, he then decides that his son needs to enroll, pretty much forcing him to enroll at Tosiki School, where he would be able to compete and learn with several great chefs among his age group, as well as, of course, the teachers. He really encouraged him, pushed him further. So yeah, he sent him to learn his limits and then push past them. Number 2. Yeah. Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist. For a long time, he has been my top anime dad. Like, seriously. I know, it's strange, but It feels like being a dad is actually part of his character point. Like he's tall, goes to work, and is a dad. Those are the traits that make him who he is in the anime, even though he's also hella smart, which didn't really work out so well for him because he was too smart for his own good, leading to an early death. But overall, he was such a loving husband, a loving father, and a little protective, even though his daughter was pretty young. But he was hella smart, hella funny, and I just really loved him as a dad, even though he was a side character and not actually related to our main characters. His whole personality was just so big that you all remember him, even though he pretty much came out of the story pretty early on. Nice dude, that guy. Number one. The winner of Top Dad in Anime actually goes to Naruto! I mean, he said dad, come on, don't you know there's an anime called Boruto? Yes. So not Boruto's dad, Naruto. Naruto's father in anime Boruto, Naruto The Next Generations. Naruto Uzumaki is my number one pick for anime dad as of this year. He's pretty hardworking. He spends all his time with his work or his family or ramen. Like that's his life. He tries his best, you know. And to be fair, when it comes to his work, is because he sees the village has his family too. So he's just daddying up everybody, right? And more so, you'll realize that Boruto and his sister Himawari always pretty much want their dad around and enjoy being around their dad. So you can tell that he's actually is a good father, even though he's overworked at work. He actually is a pretty loved dad by his two children. And then when we get Kawasaki in the later episodes, or as of this video, the recent episodes, you realize that he decides to take a more fatherly approach to that situation as well. So even though he himself didn't get raised with parents, he actually is trying his best with the help of his wife to try and really be a good dad. So yeah, I like him. 7 Kage, dad off my list. Alright, now for the bonus. The top 3 daddies who ain't your daddy. So the non-dad fathers that I think are the top 3 in anime, which just means they're not their biological fathers, but they are their paternal figures. We start off with number 3, Orsi Orphai. He is a priest from Black Clover who has raised our main character Asta and Yuno from they were babies found at the front of the orphanage. After a while, he did get help from Sister Lily in raising all the children at the orphanage, but moreover, he has pretty much been their father this entire time and the only father that they know. He's actually pretty fun, very dramatic. He also has his abilities to use fire, as well as just generally being an awesome person and trying his best to raise wholesome individuals. So even though they had very little at the orphanage, the children were actually raised to be very thankful and happy, and they didn't really hate their circumstances. But even so, when the boys are older, they send all their money to try and help the orphanage out, and he effectively uses it to actually improve the life for the orphanage, to show you that he's really just an overall well put together individual. And yes, he's a little jealous when the boys don't talk about him in their letters back home, but that's just because he really loves them. He's a cool dad, you know, as far as non-dads go. Also, you realize that he actually really has a lot of faith in the boys and never falters with it, always believing that they are good individuals and that they will always try and do their best. And he would tell them too that they always have a home back at the orphanage. It's not just a place where they happen to grow up, it's their home. He is a good dad. Number 2 in the bonus round, Shiro Fujimoto. Yeah, from Blue Exorcist. I like this guy. Like, he is hella cool, but guess what? Spoiler, he dies in the first episode. But similarly to the moms who were dead before the anime started situation, you get to hear about him and see about him in flashbacks. And what I really like about it is that you see flashbacks of him before he's a father, and you see flashbacks after he get the twins to raise. So you're like, oh, so yeah, he's still fun loving, he's still hella powerful, he's still a cool guy. But as a father, he's actually even improved on his ability and learned to be more accepting and encouraging and try to pass on these good lessons to his two boys. And you have to really think about the fact that they went out of their way to show you that he did change to be a better father, a better role model for the boys, you know. And they have their differences, but he was able to raise them pretty well and tell them that they should be understanding of others and try to be kind to others and always do their best and be kind to themselves as well. Because, you know, they actually started off life a little bit rougher based on their actual father, but he always was like, you know, don't let that bring you down. Do your best, be kind to yourself, love yourself, and move on. Number 1 in the bonus round. Like, he is a new love of mine, and in fact, I didn't actually even know he wasn't a real dad or a biological dad. Of course, he's a real dad. Right? So number 1 is actually Byakuga Ishigami from Dr. Stone, Senku's adoptive father. This dude is hella cool. Like, yes, pretty much all the dads I like are really funny dudes. So yeah, fine. He's also hilarious. But he's also an astronaut. Also well-dedicated father. Also, this is where you go about that whole nature versus nurture thing, because he definitely nurtured Senku into being pretty much like him. He is hilarious, he is honest, and he is straightforward. And he has so much confidence in his son. He even sold his car so that he can get the materials for his son to really aspire further to be a genius in science. And then let's not forget that when the world pretty much ended, he goes out of his way to leave an elaborate message because he had 100% faith that Senku was going to come back in this world and he needed to leave him a message. Okay? Like, that is some serious faith in your kid, some serious thought that he had to put in all the time. And even when Senku made a contraption to like help him prepare for his astronaut exam, of course it didn't work the first time, but he kept at it. He wanted to be the person who always had faith in his son. He wanted to be a role model for his son. So even when it was hard, he kept trying to be the astronaut. He kept trying because he knew that his son would always keep trying, and he needed to be a good role model in that sense. So yeah, this guy is actually the number 1 daddy. And the reason he wasn't on the first list is simply because he's an adoptive daddy. But I will really honestly say he wins the cake right here. Yeah, like he got it. This is his cake right now. He's a new dad as far as I'm concerned when it comes to anime, as the anime came out last year. But I pretty much think this guy has won it. And even though you don't see him in like multiple episodes, every time you do see him, you're pretty impressed with his constant way to keep positive and make situations light, even if they're pretty serious, and just keep going forward. Yeah, just keep swimming, keep swimming. He's a pretty good dad, and he really raised a pretty good son who's the main character of Dr. Stone. So, there were actually quite a few runner-ups. I'm not gonna lie, there were actually a pretty good amount of anime dads that I had to go through. I had dads from Naruto, dads from Boruto, I had a dad from Disastrous Life of Psyche K, I had a dad from Soul Eater. I had so many dads that actually really were lovable and worthy of being on a list of their own. But today was just the top 5 and the bonus 3, so we had to just cut it short. Shout out to my daddy, the best daddy in the world. Hope you have a wonderful Father's Day. Full joy it. And to all you fathers out there, whether you be biological fathers, stepfathers, adoptive fathers, just paternal figures in other people's lives, thank you so much for all you do and continue to do. And know that the people that you are with in your life are truly touched and blessed to have you in it. So happy Father's Day to all you daddies out there. Hope you have a wonderful time in June and know that you are loved by your family and those that you help take care of. Warimashita, I'm finished. I hope you saw people on the list that you thought were pretty important dads too and that you liked them. If you have other point of views or other dads you want to mention, you can just put it in the comment section. Always comment. I love to hear about some new things. Maybe you talk about a dad I didn't know about. I love new anime. Gimme. Anyways, remember to like, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.